Welcome to Bart's Gaming Corner. Whenever I play a classic isometric RPG like Baldur's Gate 3, I tend to pick a fighter or paladin. But for the last couple of years I veered more to the rogue class. Playing a rogue is both more fun and challenging than a fighter, especially in early game. Now, a fighter is perfect for learning the basics of a D&D game, when you're a complete beginner. But with choosing the rogue class, you will have a more in-depth experience, where you get to see more of the game mechanics, and how to properly utilize and enjoy them. In a classical RPG sense, the rogue is both a class canon and a skill monkey, meaning he/she can dish out a good amount of damage, but should remain at arm's length of your enemies, and is quite useful in dealing with a lot of situations the game puts before you. So this is a beginner's guide for the rogue class for Baldur's Gate Early Access Edition, where I show you which abilities to pick and which race. When the full game is released, I will be also releasing a full rogue class video, but in the meantime, this video is especially for the Early Access Edition. Enjoy! Ability scores. The game will automatically set up the ability scores to give you a good starting rogue character, so you can use those, but it will give you some insights in the importance of each score, so you can tinker about with your character yourself. Basically, your rogue should focus on dexterity, wisdom, intelligence, in constitution, and a bit in charisma for your interactions. Dexterity. This is a given. Every rogue needs a lot of dexterity to dodge traps, enemy attacks, to be better with sneak attacks themselves, etc. Having a good dexterity is the raison d'être for any rogue. Wisdom. You won't need as much as a cleric, but having some wisdom is nifty for scouting and perception, and for some gameplay situations. Intelligence. A high intelligence is vital if you want to play with the arcane trickster archetype, which you can choose when reaching level 3. However, if you want to pick the thief or assassin archetype, more on those later, you're better off investing in wisdom, constitution and or charisma. Constitution. For getting enough hit points, and especially nifty if you're thinking about going toe-to-toe with your enemies instead of using ranged weapons, some investment in Constitution is needed. Actually, Constitution is a good idea for any class you pick, be it fighter, wizard or rogue. Charisma. For role-playing purposes, having some charisma is pretty good to have. It will give you a better chance of success in interactions with your team members and the various NPCs. Strength is not that important. Pick the default score or take some points off it to invest in another ability. Races. What races are best for playing a rogue? Of course, you can't go wrong with picking a halfling. Those were born to be the perfect rogues. With halflings you get automatically a +2 dexterity bonus, and you can choose either the Lightfoot halfling with a +2 to dexterity and a +1 to charisma. And next to that you get the natural stealthy feature, which allows your character to hide better. Or you can choose the strong hard halfling, which is perfectly suited as a melee focused rogue with a +2 bonus on dexterity and a +1 bonus on constitution. Elves are great rogues as well. Automatically you get a +2 bonus to dexterity, and depending on the race you pick, you get for high elf +2 to dexterity, a +1 bonus to intelligence, good for picking arcane trickster. You can choose wood elf with a +2 bonus to dexterity and a +1 bonus to wisdom, or you can pick a drow, the dark elf. With both the Loth and Seldering, you get +2 to dexterity and +1 to charisma bonus. If you pick the Loth or Seldering drow, that will have an impact on some gameplay features later on. But, spoiler, you will have to experience that yourself. Humans are a good fit with Rogue, having a +1 bonus for each ability, and you can choose half elves as well. Starting point. Every Rogue starts with a default 1 die 8 hit points, meaning you start out with a default of 8 hit points. My Drow Rogue started with 10 hit points. Depending on your constitution, you will receive a minimum of 5 hit points every time you level up. That doesn't sound like much compared to the average fighter or ranger, but a rogue isn't supposed to be a tank. His or her qualities lie elsewhere. The rogue will be proficient in light armor, meaning you can take some damage, but it's better to avoid getting hit. Weapons. You start with simple weapons, hand crossbows, long swords, rapiers, and of course short swords. If you want to focus on other weapons, choosing another race such as wood elves, who are proficient in longbows, can do the trick. Tools. Start with thieves' tools, of course, needed for picking locks and disarming traps. Saving throws, dexterity and intelligence, used for dodging traps and spells alike. So for most situations where saving throws needed, your dexterity and or intelligence are used. Skills. You can choose 4 skills from acrobatics, athletics, deception, insight, intimidation, investigation, perception, performance, persuasion, sleight of hand and stealth. Again, the game will give you suggestions which to choose first. Depends on what kind of game you want to experience. For instance, if you want to play with a charming rogue, focus on performance, intimidation and persuasion. Sneak attack. This is probably the best feature of the rogue. Rogue automatically starts with the famous sneak attack feature, which deals out an extra 1 die 6 damage. It's worked like this: every time you choose sneak attack to hit an enemy, your character will deal extra damage. You can't use sneak attack every time. For instance, one of your party members needs to be standing at least 1.5 meters next to your enemy, and you need to use a finesse or range weapon. So using a great axe for sneak is not possible, but using a longsword or short bow is. Over time, when your character levels up, this sneak attack will become much more powerful. And this is precisely the reason why the rogue is such a dangerous combatant. You can dish out enormous amounts of damage to an enemy in one turn. Sneak attacks will increase on levels 3, 5, 7 and 9 and so on. At the moment, the level cap for the full version will be at least level 12. Since the level cap in this early access edition at the moment is level 4, you can increase sneak once. Next to that, you get a bonus action just like the other characters. Archetypes. Starting at level 3, you can pick an archetype for your rogue, which will have a great impact on how to play and develop your character for the rest of the game. These are Thief, Assassin, Arcane Trickster. Thief is a typical rogue with an emphasis on skills used outside of combat, such as stealing from NPCs, disarming traps, etc. You get the feature Fast Hands, which allows you a far better chance in doing, well, things with a dexterity skill check, and Second Story Work, feature which allows you to climb walls and the like faster, with a lesser impact on your movement points during combat. Jumping will also be increased. Assassin. The Assassin is the archetype that is used in dealing as much damage and death as possible. If you choose Assassin, you will become more proficient with poisons and the like, for instance. At level 3 you gain the feature Bonus Proficiency, which allows you to use a Disguise Kit, which can alter your appearance, and Poisonous Kit, which allows you to create and use different kind of poisons. Next to that, you get the feature Assassinate. This feature will give you a bonus in the attack rolls against enemies that haven't used their turn in combat yet. Instead of throwing a 1 dice 20 to attack, you throw 2 20-sided dice, with the highest results being used to determine if you hit the enemy. That way your chance of successfully hitting an enemy is greatly increased. Arcane Trickster. The Arcane Trickster is a rogue that next to the usable skills uses a variety of spells and cantrips, mostly focused on illusion and enchantment at first. Later on, when reaching level 9, you can pick any spell you want. In this early access edition, you will be using enchantment and illusion spells. For a good Arcane Trickster, you need to invest in the intelligence ability. The higher your intelligence, the higher the effectiveness of your spells. Apart from that, you will get the Mage Hand Ledger Domain. This feature can be used for picking locks and stealing stuff, etc. Now, if you're a complete noob, having never played a rogue character in any D&D game, I would advise on starting with either the Thief or Assassin archetype. If however you already know the basics of the rogue and how the spell system works, the Arcane Trickster is a pretty nifty pick. How to play? The rogue is all about having fun, stealing from NPCs or persuading them to do something or reveal something against their own interest, and of course backstabbing enemies on the battlefield. Properly used, a rogue can dish out enormous amounts of damage and cut a swath through enemy forces. However, since a rogue won't have many hit points, you will have to think ahead. If you have a fighter in your party, use that character to bear the brunt of enemy attacks, and your rogue to weed out the most dangerous adversaries. Next to that, the rogue is perfect for enjoying everything the game has to offer when you're not in combat. Exploring, avoiding traps and ambushes, talking to NPCs, gaining treasure. So, if you want to experience everything Baldur's Gate 3 has to offer, you can't go wrong with picking a rogue.